Alright, 1 week later, the BookTubeAthon is officially over. Hello lovely people, my name is Nicole and today it is my wrap up of the BookTubeAthon. I didn't do quite as much reading as I'd like to, I didn't do quite as much updating as I like to, I didn't quite get through all the books on my TBR, but I did do a decent amount of reading and I made a sizable dent in the books that I had on my TBR. So let's do some wrapping up now. So the first book I read I actually don't have with me because I'm lending it to a friend, and that is Wide Awake by David Levithan. This is about a boy who lives in a near future America where the very first gay Jewish president has just been elected, and this kid is very excited about this because he himself is gay and Jewish, and he has been sort of supporting this man's campaign for the past couple of years, and then the election gets called into question, and so he and his friends have to like help support. I absolutely loved this. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was so well written. There were a number of themes in it that I normally really don't like reading about. I normally don't like reading books that have a lot of politics in them. I normally don't like reading books that have a lot of religion in them, and both of those were major themes in this book, and they were done so well. I literally texted my friend when I was like 50 pages in and said, you have to read this book because it's amazing and you'll love it. So yeah, very good book. This fulfilled my challenge of read a book without putting it down. I started it at like midnight, right when the BookTubeAthon started, and didn't put it down until I finished it around 2:30 a.m. So 1 book, 1 challenge, done. Next I read Survive the Night by Danielle Vega. This was my book that I really wanted to read because Danielle Vega's books, oh my god. I read her first book for the BookTubeAthon last year, so I thought it was fitting that I should read her second one for this BookTubeAthon, and oh my god, her books. I feel like this one had a better plot arc than her first one did. I found it to be less just like straight up disturbing. The characters didn't have a ton of depth, but I do think that I did like this one better than her first book. I gave it like 3 stars. Then I read Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. These are all on Monday, or on, yeah, Monday by the way. Monday was kind of a crazy reading day for me. 3 books. It was amazing. So then I read Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone, and I absolutely loved this. This is about a girl who's struggling with OCD and she's hiding it from her popular friends, and then one day she meets a new friend who shows her that maybe she doesn't have to hide who she is in order to be loved. And oh my god, this book, I don't even know what I can say about it. It was just fantastic. A lot of the things that like she learned in this were things that I really needed to hear, and it just, a combination of the right book with the right writing at the right time. It was absolutely fantastic. I gave it 5 stars. Over the next day or two, it was a little bit rough reading wise. I was hanging out with friends a lot. There was a stretch of like 24 hours where I was literally just hanging out with friends constantly. So I didn't get a ton of reading done. I started Falling Kingdoms. I never actually finished this one. I only got around 50 pages in total, which is a shame because this was going to be my Read Someone Else's Favorite Book. Didn't finish this. But I'm just sort of going on the idea that every book has to be someone in the world's favorite book, right? Or maybe Every Last Word has become one of my favorite books, as has Wide Awake, so that's we're gonna count that for that challenge. So I didn't actually finish Falling Kingdoms, which is a shame, because I really liked what I did read. I just was more in the mood for light, easy contemporaries this week. I did, however, during that stretch of hanging out with people, start Read Between the Lines, and this one I did finish. This one I didn't like though. So this follows a bunch of different teenagers all going through the same day with sort of a central theme of people getting flipped off. And it just felt really disconnected. I didn't have a chance to really connect with any of the characters or see them be developed very much. Like, I get the intention and I applaud the intention, but it just felt really unfinished, and not in the like slice of life kind of way. It just felt unintentionally unfinished, and it just didn't work for me. I only gave it 2 stars. However, this did provide my book with blue on the cover. Then I read 2 books on my phone because they just came out during the week, and that is, let's see if you can see this, the first time Penny's story is this one, and then the first time Ian's story. Those covers are identical except for the name at the bottom. I don't know why I showed you both of them, but those are both by Abigail Barnett. They are a spin-off from her Boss series about a young girl who is, I say young, she's like early 20s, who is naive, a little bit naive, and sort of a little bit more, not demure, but inexperienced, and her boss sets her up with an older, more distinguished, definitely more experienced guy, and they fall in love. And I absolutely loved both of them. I love Abigail Barnett's writing. I loved the Boss series, so I was so excited to pick up this one. And it didn't disappoint. I gave them both 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. I will say that I liked reading from Ian's perspective more than from Penny's perspective, but they're both fantastic. And in my mind, Abigail Barnett can pretty much do no wrong, writing-wise. Then I read The Distance Between Us by Casey West, and this was my book that I most recently acquired because I got this after I got the 2 ebooks. And it came in the mail in the middle of the week on like Thursday-ish. So I read it pretty much right when I got it, and so good. I love Casey West. It wasn't, okay, I will say it wasn't my favorite of her books. I think my favorite of her books is probably On the Fence. I gave it 4 stars, but she just is so good with writing romance and cuteness, and it's wonderful. This is about a girl who is struggling a little bit. Her family is rather poor. She works in her mom's doll shop, and one day she meets a very wealthy, very handsome teenage boy, and they start flirting. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite of Casey West's books, but it was still really, really good and really cute, and I think I gave it 4 stars. And then I picked up 21 Proms by a bunch of people. It's edited by David Levithan and Daniel Aaron Haft. But this is a collection of short stories, so it's okay that I haven't quite finished it because each short story is work of its own. So it counts. And this helped me to fulfill my read a book by an author whose last name starts with the same first letter as her last name. Because the very first story is written by Elizabeth Craft. Let's see. So, fulfilled that. Since it's short stories, I'm gonna count it. I don't quite have a rating for this yet, because I haven't finished the entire book, but I've been liking most of the stories. There have been a couple that aren't so great, but in general they've been fun. None of them have really like blown my mind. Holly Black's was weird and interesting as usual. There was one that was written in second person that really just didn't work for me. Second person is really, really difficult to write from. I find that it's either just like really, really effective and really just insanely good, or it just comes off reading like a bad fanfiction, and this one didn't work for me, unfortunately, but I'll let you guys know more about it when I finish the book. So there were a couple of days where I wasn't able to read at all. Like I said, there was, I think on Tuesday, Wednesday-ish area, I was hanging out with people for like 24 hours straight. On Saturday, I spent literally all day hanging out with people, so I wasn't able to read. It's also why I'm sunburned right now. I don't know if you can tell. And then on Sunday night, when I was planning on finishing 21 Proms and getting more into Falling Kingdoms, I had to go help out a friend. And I didn't get back until like 2:30 in the morning. So that cut off a couple hours of my reading time. But that's okay. You know, shit happens. That's sort of what I've learned throughout these readathons. You just kind of have to go with the flow. Let what happens happen. Yeah, overall, I'm okay with how much I read. I mean, compared to last year when I read literally 14 books, which was kind of insane. Wasn't nearly as good as that, but I didn't expect to do that well this year. So I read a total of 7 books and then a number of short stories. You can't actually count them all here because 2 of them are on my phone and 1 of them isn't here. So yeah, you know, these are BookTubeAthon. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I did it again. I love you, and I will see you later.